so me and John and James and Chris were kind of all talking to each other during the election, and like while the results were coming in and stuff like that. And
that
John
had to be grim.
I don't know, but there was also like some shit talk about like people that instead of voting for Hillary or Trump voted third party, and it's like all these third party votes went elsewhere, and it's like I'm just glad that you're not mad at me because I did not vote third party.
You know, Michigan was almost a big deal this year, but they managed to hold out until they were irrelevant again.
Like, there were a lot of people that did vote third party, but, and I get it because I couldn't bring myself to vote for Hillary or Trump either.
What?
Wait, are you saying that you didn't vote?
I did. I voted.
So who
didn't
did you
vote for
vote
president?
Yeah, I voted for president.
Okay.
I wrote in Harambe.
No!
You wrote in who?
You did not write it.
I wrote Harambe, the Cincinnati gorilla, for president of the United States.
No, you didn't.
No.
I'd have to punch you, and we don't want to start out the podcast that way.
That's functionally the same thing as not voting. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations on not voting for Jill Stein, but still.
Yeah.
Dicks out, Harambe. Just let it breathe. Harambe.
This joke on John Hates Movies has been brought to you by Sarcasm. Sarcasm, for when you're not serious.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends prevent me from informing on my neighbors about their illegal video machine and instead force me to watch movies. This week, we have with us Eric Largent.
Tally-ho.
We have James Barrup.
I just realized I have nothing for this section.
Replacing the hot seat with a wind tunnel, we have Todd Meter.
Goose, goose, I'm on your tail.
This week, ladies and gentlemen, we have brought to you a documentary called...
Yes, correct.
Yes,
it was.
Called Chuck Norris versus Communism. And if you're like me, you're completely wrong about what this movie is about.
Right. Misleading title.
Yes.
Yeah.
This documentary looks back on Romanian dictator Nicolae I can never say his last name. Ceausescu.
Yep.
His ban of Western media and how an influx of bootlegged films changed the country. And directed by Ilanka Calgaranu, which I totally massacred that, but we're going with it.
They're foreigners, folks.
That's right. That's right.
And produced by Brett Radner.
Yes.
Yeah, let's address the elephant in the room.
The Rat Man.
Who brought you such hits as X3.
Yes. So this movie was, like I said before, it was misleading. I was expecting, basically more Chuck Norris and maybe
more Chuck Norris, less communism.
Well, no, I was kind of thinking that this would be like, when you title a movie Chuck Norris versus Communism, even if the premise is about, Western media having an effect on a lockdown regime like Romania, you'd think that Chuck Norris would be the centerpiece.
You think he'd be in the movie?
I'm thinking the Chuck Norris part was an afterthought because Arena Nister versus Communism didn't test well.
Yeah. Yes, that is how they got people to watch it, because they needed a splashy title. But that's ultimately the only reason Chuck Norris is mentioned is it's a splashy title.
No, exactly. If he's Stallone or something.
Yeah, but I bet you like Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger or like Steven Seagal versus Communism, I bet all three of those guys would have gotten litigious. And Chuck Norris is just like, whatever, you can use my name.
Exactly.
Hey, people are talking about me again.
Right.
This hasn't happened since 2002 when I was internet famous. Chocolate rain.
Conan, please pull the Chuck Norris lever again one time. I need to pay some bills. The Walker Texas Ranger lever.
I haven't pulled that since Walker gave me AIDS. Or Walker told me I have AIDS. That's it.
Right. So, as is John Hates Movies tradition, the person who picked the movie gets to review it first, but we're going to slide that aside for a second. Because
Format
James,
change!
while picking the movie, got it from a listener suggestion. And Todd, you were that listener.
I am that listener.
Do you feel like you can tackle it head on? Tell us why you wanted us to watch this.
Wow, okay. Well, so I sat down and watched this, and I decided about halfway through watching it that I was going to recommend it for you guys. And the reasoning being is that it's such a great celebration of movies and Hollywood movies and American cinema. And this was before any of your new episodes had come out, but I knew you were coming back. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to come back and have an episode where you can talk about how great Hollywood movies are? I love Chuck Norris versus Communism. I like documentaries. I'm not going to lie about that. But I would recommend this one to people who don't like documentaries because it's kind of a hybrid. There's a lot of there's a lot of dramatic reenactment.
Yeah.
The narrative is told through interviews with people who actually lived it. But the things that you're seeing play out on the screen are all actors. And it's really high production quality. So I feel like you get a little bit of the Hollywood feel, but with still in the documentary realm. And I think that underneath this, there's a great political thriller. There's moments that are tense. There's even one really good twist that I won't reveal.
I mean, you can reveal it. I don't know.
Spoilers are fine.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, I think a lot of people watch the movie before they listen to us talk about it.
Or they just don't give a shit about spoilers.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, just to set it up a little bit, one of the things that I really love about this movie you see playing out is so there's all these people involved. Not really all these people. There's like 3 or 4 people that are doing the whole underground black market bootleg VHS thing in Romania at this time, which is highly, highly, highly illegal. And they're getting away with it. And because they're getting away with it, each one of them is convinced that the others are all secret policemen.
Yeah.
Working undercover. They all wholeheartedly think that is probably the case. There's a scene where it turns out to be true of one of them, and I just thought that was a really great reveal the way they did that.
Pretty unlikely one of them, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the secret police come bursting in, and there's a gun in Zamfir's face, and the guy who fills in for Irina doing dubbing
the one that nobody
whispers
likes
a secret word, and everybody leaves. And because of that, Zamfir knows that Mircea was a secret policeman.
Mm-hmm.
And then Irina comes in later, and they're sitting on the couch looking very grim and drinking, and she never knows why. Yeah. And that's my favorite moment in the movie.
It's a good moment, and although it was a little bit unclear that the reason that he got him off the hook is because he was on board with what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that did become clear at the end when they actually show that guy looking kind of like a middle-aged biker at that point. And he's telling about how basically he was in love with Zamfir, and that was pretty interesting. Not in love, but,
I like that they held the 3 main characters, they held back the reveal of the real people until the very end of the movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, too.
But overall, what I really liked about this movie is seeing our culture through very different eyes and seeing how affected people were by it. And we're not talking about art house films or epics like Citizen Kane. We're talking about the cheesy action films of the 80s and corny American blockbusters that had such a huge impact to people who were completely walled off from the Western world.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see the movies that those people saw as classics.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like the Prisoner of War one with Chuck Norris.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah,
Like where they're talking about him biting the rat, and like they mentioned that a few times.
Uh-huh.
yeah, like all of Chuck Norris's stuff, which is just considered garbage over here.
Right.
Right.
They're all like, oh yeah, that one's a classic.
Yeah.
Like you got Casablanca, Citizen Kane,
Missing in action.
Missing in Action.
Yep.
And they were getting something completely different out of those movies than we were. One of the
Yep,
things that
absolutely.
really jumped out at me was when one of the guys talks about how he would get distracted and not be following the plot of the movie anymore because he was so focused on when characters walk into a store, there's all these products.
Yeah.
And there's just all this color, and they have all these choices, and all the cars, and the buildings, and just things that they would never see otherwise, or maybe even know existed, because they had no other exposure to the world outside their borders.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to
You
be
know-
able to look at that scene, because they pair that scene up, what Todd's talking about, with a scene from Taxi Driver where Robert De Niro is literally just buying, I think he's buying a candy bar or a newspaper in a bodega. And when they show that scene, it was the first time where I ever actually looked at it from that perspective, because, that scene's, the bodega is dirty. Everything in Travis Bickle's world is dirty. But when you watch it and they show it in this, and you've got the context, seeing that dirty bodega against the backdrop of the film that they show, like the reenactments, how washed out those reenactments were, it makes that whole scene pop.
It was in the reenactments. It was really cool to see all of the Soviet architecture, where it's just big ass fucking cement buildings.
Yeah, ugly ass squares. Yep.
Yeah, like they all lived in the projects.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was shot on location. Those were the actual locations, I think.
Yeah, I actually went last night and did some Google Street View around Bucharest, and that's what it looked like. Some of that's fucking Soviet housing.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they have like real shit now, though, right?
In some places, but there are still those like massive structures.
I mean,
God.
we're talking. Oh shit! I was gonna say we're talking 40 years ago, but still.
Nope.
Right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
We're talking 30 years ago.
30 years ago, basically 35.
A lot can change, yeah.
Yeah, and while a lot can change,
in
a
that time,
a lot of that infrastructure is still there.
Yeah.
Because
they're not going to tear it down if people are living there.
Yeah.
I love the idea that there's this quiet revolution that went on, that these people were openly defying what was law that they could get in huge trouble for, just by owning a VCR or owning a color television. And it wasn't like people taking up arms and running out into the streets. It was just your common everyday people who just really wanted to watch some movies and were willing to go to those lengths to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people in America smoke weed?
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot like prohibition is what I was thinking.
Yeah, the exact same thing. Yeah.
But is it though? I mean, do you get taken away in the middle of the night, never to be heard from again because you're smoking weed?
If you're smoking enough of it, yes.
Yeah,
but
that does happen.
But that it didn't sound like that was happening to these people. It would just get confiscated.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like their TV and their VCR would get confiscated.
Well,
which is usually what happens most.
That was Ceausescu's mistake, was that he did kind of turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
Because he likes movies too.
Well, okay.
But everybody liked movies.
Yeah, that's the thing.
so
Everybody wanted it.
According to this movie, that was Ceausescu's mistake. But we can get into.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of.
I'm pretty
there's a lot
sure.
of
I mean, yeah.
geopolitical things going on and intricacies to why communism fell that this movie does not portray.
Yeah.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I mean, this movie is about an aspect of things that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's been a weird 24 hours in America.
No.
When I got up yesterday morning and looked at the dumpster fire that had become Facebook, a very wise man had posted something on there about how he was looking forward to all the great art that was going to come out in the next 4 years.
God, reading my Facebook posts.
Yes. And
I'm like, okay, so like I'm staying up really late on election night and going like is there any like good I can take out of this at all? And like really there's not. But when you think about it, good art doesn't come from a comfortable place.
Yep.
And the United States isn't in a comfortable place right now.
No, sometimes good art needs an enemy.
Yes.
And our art is great.
Yeah.
And, and if you doubt that, if you doubt the impact or how important a shitty old Chuck Norris movie is, then this is the documentary you probably need to watch.
Yeah.
Our politics are not always aspirational. They're almost never a reflection of our better selves. But our art is always hopeful. That's where we enshrine our ideals,
Yeah.
So it's like, and not like art house movies, because those can be pretty depressing, but like our blockbusters, the summer blockbusters that everybody goes out to see and that we ship out to the rest of the world and become huge blockbusters all over the world. That's the face that we show to the rest of the world as the people of America.
Yeah, or the music we create.
Right.
Yeah.
And like our heroes are never shallow, bigoted, narcissistic demagogues, because we like to root for the good guys.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I'm on board. I like this idea. I'm all about it.
It is, yeah. That was my like positive takeaway. There are some negatives too.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
I'm
we're not gonna.
I'm trying to gloss over those.
Yeah, we're
Right.
trying not to bum you guys out.
I'm
on
trying
these
to
John Hates
paper
movies.
over that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, and we'll state it for the record, we're all feeling pretty bad here in Hot Sauce Studios about what happened on Tuesday.
Yeah, I poured out a whole bottle of hot sauce for the United States of America.
But that's really strange timing for this podcast, because this movie was picked before any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
that's
seems
true.
like
And
a
I
really
watched it.
good time for this movie.
Yeah. I watched it the day after.
John watched it the next morning after the
Yeah.
election.
Did it help?
That's
Because I
gotta be
haven't
rough.
watched it.
No,
post-election.
actually, if you guys don't mind, I'll go next.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, actually, it depressed the ever living fuck out of me, quite honestly. But that was just the time frame in which I watched it, because I was already depressed, and then this movie does a great job of framing the destitution, and it's really weird because there's something about being so locked down and so restricted and so isolated that this movie does a very good job communicating that, with the way that everything turned out and the fact that I happen to be in a location that is a little bit isolated from everyone else.
I mean, everyone else, as in anyone other than Millie.
As in everyone on this podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone on this planet, essentially.
I probably...
John's in his office.
Yeah.
And that's where he stays.
He's sequestered in a small subdivision in a very blue state.
Yes.
Well, thank God he has movies to be his window to the outside world.
Exactly. So this really did kind of speak home to me, and it was very it made me feel like I was a communist Romanian.
Once a week, John gets together with his friends and watches a movie, and then they all talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
John's window into the Western world.
So
It's a platform for us to, talk about other things.
quite honestly, yes. You know what? I'm calling it. Chuck Norris versus Communism is the story of John Hates movies. Just picture me as that tiny little Romanian kid in the film who would get really excited for one day a week, got to be able to see the world and how it is. And was able to come out of his office and stop answering phone calls.
The room was damp and smelled of mold, but I didn't care because I got to watch movies.
Exactly.
And so, like, a lot of their descriptions of, like, apartments and the places and stuff, like, 20 people packed into a tiny one bedroom, all, like, crammed in there and watching a tiny TV on a shitty VCR. Like, that actually, like, that really kind of made me feel nostalgic and good for, like,
Yeah.
because they didn't care about the conditions. That shitty TV, the shitty VCR, the shitty tape, and their shitty conditions didn't matter because they were transported to a different place.
Yeah, and honestly, it reminded me of like playing video games in my basement with my friends, or playing GoldenEye over at Todd's house, which was a pit.
Well, literally, because I lived in a basement.
But I mean, yeah. So I mean, those moments, God bless it. If you have them in your past, those are special times when you can just escape with a group Not a huge group. It doesn't have to be huge. I'm not talking, I mean, yes, everybody has those wonderful concert experiences, but the parts that really speak to me in the warmth are these parts that are illustrated within this film of, you know, like a couple of families together, like 20 people in a small room watching a shitty dub. Well, a good dub, but a terrible copy of that
Yes.
dub.
Yeah.
A VCR or a VHS tape that's been copied way too many times.
Exactly.
Oh, they was so low tech. Like the guy had 320 VCRs that he was making copies with.
Yep.
It was ridiculous.
Just like drugs. It's hilarious because he would get the main one, he'd make a dub of it, and that would be his master, which he would copy to 300 other ones, which would be sold to smaller lieutenants who would then copy it again another 70 times.
Yeah.
So would this be a good time for me to interject something?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I kind of wanted to address the Brett Ratner thing, and then I forgot to.
All right, yeah.
So Brett Ratner was the producer of this film,
One of them.
which to me means that he bankrolled it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somebody had a really good idea for a documentary, and they went to Brett Ratner, and he said, yeah, I'll give you the money to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Ratner is also the director of X-Men 3. I saw in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a ticket to that piece of shit.
Yeah, that was a bad movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of feel like that money bankrolled this documentary, which I really enjoy. So I kind of feel like I got my money back.
Yeah.
Well, here's
In
the
a
thing.
grand universe sort of way.
Brett Ratner may not be the best at the movies, but when it comes to choosing documentaries to back, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, because he's also responsible for Electric Boogaloo, which is the untold story of canon films. And if you guys want to see a documentary that's pretty fucking awesome, that's a pretty fucking awesome directory.
He also produced the new Leonardo DiCaprio climate change documentary, Before the Flood.
Oh, yeah. I haven't
Available
watched
available
that.
now on National Geographic for free.
And Netflix for free, too.
Yep.
So
Or
Brett
was it
Ratner
that?
doesn't have bad taste. He's just a really shitty director.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
I don't know. So he's good at what he does, which are like the Rush Hour movies. Like
Yeah.
nobody watched the Rush Hour movies and said, "Brett Ratner, you suck."
The first one was good. I do not remember the second.
I don't really either,
Yeah.
but they were just good fun.
Yeah.
Is basically what those movies were.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just not good at X-Men movies.
Right.
Or like,
Red Dragon. He wasn't very good at Silence of the Lambs.
No.
that actually,
He's not
that
good at
wasn't
sequels
bad.
to good movies.
The Red Dragon wasn't bad.
There was a Rush Hour
that-
TV series?
Yes.
Huh.
It was not good.
Oh, God.
Weren't there like 6 of those movies already?
Well, there were 3 movies.
Yep.
Was a Family Man the movie with Nick Cage that was like...
Yes.
Oh, God, that movie was fucking dumb.
So he's also not good at Nick Cage. Well, okay.
No.
So that's Brett Ratner. And Todd, yes, you got your money back. I'm happy for you. And
Yay!
and if anybody is interested, they really should check out Electric Boogaloo, because that was a fascinating ride. Where this was a slow burn, Electric Boogaloo was a very fascinating ride. Both movies about the transformative power of film, which we hope that that this podcast kind of brings this to you. And so I'm going to actually close up, since I am in the middle of my review, even though we've been kind of all over the map here. I'm going to close up my part of the review with this. I really hope that when you watch this film and you see the way that these people react to these movies that they're watching, which Todd basically put as the voice of the American people, are blockbusters. I hope you kind of get what we're doing here too. Because I have had people ask me personally, John, why do you take these movies so seriously? Why do you look at them? And why do you shine a critical light on shit like Horrible Bosses? And I do it because these movies matter. Even though they're shitty, stupid, goofy, fun, whatever you want to call them, Rush Hour matters. It does.
Yeah.
Somebody in North Korea might be watching a dubbed version of Rush Hour right now.
Yes, that's actually pretty likely.
And realizing that, there's a place where you can actually be.
There's a place where you can't touch a black man's radio.
Exactly. Well, all right. So yes, but the fact is that we take a critical eye at these movies because these movies are important to us. They're important to other people.
Don't you ever touch a black man's radio.
and they're worth the time to critically examine. I mean, it's the least that we can do.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, James, Eric, which one of you guys want to pick this up? All right, James.
That's so sad because to a North Korean, a black man's radio has more than one channel. Has more than just the state's channel.
You know what? They did mention it in this movie where, like, at this point in Romanian history, they only had one TV station that broadcast for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it just broadcasts news and political speeches.
Yeah, propaganda shit.
But yeah, no, actually, mentioning North Korea, it reminds me because if anybody knows me, I'm like, they know I kind of have an obsession with
Asia.
No, not Asia.
Penises.
Penises. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Totalitarian cultures.
Okay.
So things like North Korea and Scientology and stuff like that. Very controlling and stuff, and it's always surprising, but surprising how much they can, how much a person can stand in these environments. That is, I think, the most fascinating thing about it. But no, the same thing's happening in North Korea right now with DVDs, and I watched a documentary on that too. Actually, it was not done nearly as well as this, but no, there are a number of people who are sneaking in modern day dubbed or subbed blockbuster Western movies to watch in North Korea. And Todd, you said that this was like really illegal. I mean, I believe that the way that it was written in Romania at the time, at least the way that it was presented in the documentary, they weren't explicitly illegal. They were tacitly illegal.
Yeah.
As in as in it wasn't illegal to own these things or to watch them. It's just
you shouldn't have them.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Shouldn't have them.
Yeah, and so I mean, you're playing with fire, but more or less like
they weren't available.
Exactly.
Because one of the things that was talked about was you had to, if you wanted a VCR
you had to
or
go to
a color
Germany.
television, you had to buy it on the black market, and it would cost you as much as a car.
Right.
Yep. That's one of those fucking. That's a great thing about. That's one awesome thing about this movie is it had all those old Yugos that they were driving around.
Fucking Ladas.
The only kind of car they knew existed
Yeah.
until they saw other cars. They saw American cars in films.
Right.
Yeah, but nonetheless, in Korea though, like they showed some hidden camera footage of people watching Western movies in Korea where they are explicitly illegal, and they like gather in like a really small hut and they like turn off all the lights and cover all the windows so that nobody can see, and like two people will watch a movie together because it's so fucking illegal that it's it's like doing coke or something, like, and you turn the sound way down so that nobody can really hear you and stuff. But no,
so your neighbors don't inform on you to the secret police.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, watching this, I was just like, man, this is just the way we smoke weed in America. Like everybody fucking does it. And if you have weed, you have 20 people showing up in your apartment. It's the only way to get people to come to your party.
Well, and that's how great movies are. Is like people are willing to do that just to watch a movie, which is something that's so trivial to us.
Yeah, it's so trivial now. People won't like leave their house to spend time with their friends to go do it. I, as well, with John, did not know what the fuck I was getting into with this. I mean, the title sounded fucking awesome. I really, I went into this completely blind. And I honestly expected, because watching Electric Boogaloo, you find out that like Cannon made a shit ton of Chuck Norris movies where he was always fighting communists.
Uh-huh.
Like that was his big enemy. Like, Indiana Jones and Nazis. Yeah, not even James Bond fought as many communists as Chuck Norris did.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like I was expecting it to be more about like the movies that he made with like reenactments of like the shit shows behind the production and stuff like that.
Hearts of Darkness, the
Yeah.
Chuck Norris version.
Exactly, and it was nothing like that. But that being said, I mean, it was still pretty good. I mean, there's not much you can really talk about necessarily, apart from like this movie was actually fairly uplifting, and if you're feeling kind of bad and worried about what sort of totalitarian state we might end up in after this election, just these people, they still found some hope. And I guess I mean, I could talk about some of the characters in it. Like Zamfir was fucking awesome.
Yes.
The tiny man with all the power.
I like that he still had all the master tapes in his living room.
Yeah, I know. Fucking blankets and shit. Oh man, he's so like. Honestly, when they cut to him and it was like the real guy.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to spend like another hour with him, just him talking about shit, because he seemed so funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like just in general, he seems like the old man who's got like.
He's like, so he and Irina are the interesting characters in this movie.
All right, yeah, no, my one joke was, no, Irdra, I am the one who fears.
I don't get it.
I am the one who knocks. I am the Zamfir.
I am the danger.
I was going to say, I love that there's one of the things that some of the people they interview talk about. Everybody imagined that there was this huge conglomerate that was behind all of this, and it was really just three people in a musty basement.
Right. It was a dude with a bunch of VCRs just dubbing shit.
Yep.
True for any great company. It's always three dudes in a basement. Just like Hot Sauce
They were
Studios.
podcasting.
Yeah.
They were early podcasters.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. She was definitely.
Go to hell.
Go to hell. Go away.
Get lost.
You idiot! You can go to hell.
I love you. I want you to go to hell.
I need you. I love you. And I want to go to hell. I think my two favorite guys are like, at the end they have all their names and stuff. I want to say it's like Redo and Simdu or something like that. Redo and Simdu.
Uh-huh.
Like Simdu looks like old pile of mashed potatoes. And Redo looks like a DNA cocktail clone of all the world's greatest pedophiles.
Are you talking about did Redo, was he the guy that looked like George R. R. Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
Redo was his friend who
Okay.
looks like Luigi after Faces of Meth. Like,
Jeez.
it's just so funny. I mean, like, yeah, most of the people are fairly normal looking, and then you got those two, and then you've got like Euridra or something, or Ivanian or something like that.
Was she
She was like the maybe,
metropolitan looking lady?
yeah, who was like 45 or 46, and I'm like, those, man, Eastern Europeans, man, you know.
What? They age
Their
well?
women are beautiful and their men are talented. They're good with their hands, the men, I guess. They can build.
And they built us a wall.
Yes, they can.
Actually, they can.
They did one straight through Germany. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that was, a repressive regime that did that.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
right.
don't know anything about that.
No, our wall's going to be built for freedom.
And by Mexicans.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think.
Sorry about that.
I'd love it if it was 3 feet tall.
Like parts of Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
I promised you a wall. And I
Then we
delivered.
could just like meet
We
up at
decided
the border
to do the
with like
span
beers and
first
stuff
and work
just
on the
sort of-
height later.
Yeah. Just lay down the base. We'll all bring some plates and some barbecue.
Right.
Let's just get one row of bricks down.
Yeah.
Everybody bring some Dos Equis, some fucking Modelo.
Yep. We'll just chill on it for a little while. Get to know our friends. Have a little culture exchange. Learn some new languages. It's
Right.
all sweet.
Yeah,
Put salt in your beer, boys.
So like I kind of had a bad feeling about the election night that things were maybe going to take a a nationalist turn. So I had a bunch of my friends over and we all ate Mexican food because I wanted to guac the vote.
God damn it.
Wah,
It's really bad.
Oh, that
Eric
was
just lost
wonderful.
his
Thanks
review
for that.
privileges.
What the fuck? See, that should have been Hillary's campaign slogan. She would have won then.
She had a chance.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did. Taco
All
truck
she
on
had to
every
do was grab
corner.
it.
Guac the vote. Fuck you, that was stupid, but stupid. I don't care.
So, James, are you pretty much tied up at this point?
Let's see. I think. Oh yeah. I guess the only thing I'd want to say is that this movie ultimately was hopeful and cheerful, and it had a good ending because even though it looks like this regime that they had might have only it lasted for like 4 years or something like that. So, but okay.
I'll get into it in my part.
But nonetheless, it didn't seem to last for that long. And honestly, yeah, the only thing that I would say that is kind of that I have an issue with these type of documentaries is that it made it seem as if the movies were the thing that actually turned everybody around. And I feel like there's a lot that they weren't addressing. And stuff. I mean, as great as the movie was, as great as those movies were and everything, and uplifting as they were, like Rocky when he's running up the stairs with the kids, that was fucking sweet. Because I've never seen the Rocky movies, I've only seen the first. So, but
You are missing out, sir.
Yeah, it was a really
robots and everything.
Yeah, well, okay, I've seen that part. Happy birthday, Donnie. But yeah, they make it seem like it's all just because of the movies, and that there were people out there who were actually talking about real revolution and real protest.
Oh yeah.
And were like actually putting themselves in real danger and shit like that. And you can't really cover that in this type of movie, so I get it. But nonetheless.
But you know that. But this movie was more about the people whose only form of revolution was that they were watching movies in a dark basement.
Well, the movie does let's be honest. The movie does make a direct correlation in its narrative.
Oh, you're right.
It's
not even subtle about it.
Yeah, that the films brought down the regime.
Yeah.
When we know that's
I
not
want to
true.
get into it because this is what my whole part's about.
Okay. Eric, lay some historical perspective on us.
Yes.
Right. So first off, I really enjoyed the movie. Especially the first half of the movie. It really warmed my heart to like see all of these Romanian people talking about how much, in some cases, these really shitty American movies meant to them, and like how these were really important things in their childhood and in their development, and like that was really awesome to see. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was like a room full of little Chris's.
Yeah. It was yeah, they all liked those kind of movies. Oh, no shots, Chris. No shots. Chris is my boy forever. I do feel like the movie made a couple of mistakes because this was a documentary, but we've kind of already mentioned it. It really kind of played fast and loose with actual history. Yeah. So they wanted you to think that dubbed movies were what brought down communism in Romania in 1989. Right. And that's simply not the truth.
Fair point.
Yeah. Another thing that the movie did was it really kind of jumped perspectives a lot, and it kind of like jumped its theme. Like it would go from we're all talking about these movies, and then they got into so like, you know, like the first 20 minutes of the movie, they're just talking about how amazing these dubbed movies were. And then they started getting into the process of dubbing the movies and getting these movies across the border. Irina going down into the basement and talking over them. Mm-hmm. But then they kind of like just jump back into talking about how amazing the movies are again. And then they kind of jump back into the process of dubbing the movies again. And around 2/3 of the way through this movie, I was just like, okay, where are we going here? Because they kind of were just kind of going back and forth between, it was awesome, here's how we did it. It was awesome, here's how we did it. And like there was no conclusion that it felt like they were drawing to. Now, the conclusion that they ended up arriving at was really great. They brought out, because throughout the movie they're doing historical reenactment kind of things for these ultimately like 3 or 4 main characters that were making this whole operation happen. Irina, I don't remember the guy's name, but Zamfir, and the
not the master of the pan flute,
right. and the other secret police guy that nobody liked that he was dubbing the movies.
Yeah.
Like that was great too. Like that we all preferred Irina. We didn't like the other guy. And at the end of the movie, they brought, they kind of gave those people their time to shine, and it was cool to see them. And Irina seems awesome. Yeah. Zamfir seems awesome. Like they seem like a couple of, so I actually looked up Irina's Wikipedia page. She remained. So the revolution in Hungary or in Romania happened in 1989, where the communist government was overthrown. But she remained at her TV station that she worked at through like 1998 or something like that. And
wow.
Like she was instrumental in bringing like a lot of Western cartoons onto their TV station, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like she seems like she and Zamfir are the heroes of the story. They really, all credit to them. They were great. So part of what they were talking about in this movie, and so now we're going to get into the Romanian history lesson, because that's ultimately like the thing that I can contribute here, because we're talking about a documentary, and these are things that the documentary kind of left out to its discredit. So Nicolae Ceausescu came into power in Romania in 1965, and he tried to make Romania distinct from other Soviet bloc countries in that they were going to kind of try to be a little bit cosmopolitan and have some luxuries. But around the early 80s, they ran into an incredible amount of debt to foreign powers like Iran and other places. And in like 1980, they enacted some austerity measures that basically made it so the government is going to give you your rations of food and clothing, and you have a little bit of money to spend on like housing and your car or whatever, and gas or whatever else you need. Mm-hmm. But like the government is taking most of the money and giving it back to Iran because we borrowed way too much of it because we're in debt to Iran. So throughout the 80s, the entire country was under austerity measures, and you saw it based on what all these people were talking about. Like Irina originally negotiated the price to dub a tape because that price was what she would be able to pay for a black market Austrian candy bar.
Right.
Like that's
which was like what, $100?
Yeah, like that's what she wanted out of it, is she wanted to be able to get an Austrian candy bar for dubbing a movie. Like that's pretty cool. It's just kind of pretty cool context, I guess. Mm-hmm. So Ceausescu, his austerity measures lasted through a growingly hostile people base through the 80s, and finally in the spring of 1989, he paid back all of his debts, but he left the austerity measures in place because he wanted to create a surplus. Mm. And then in the fall...
What an awesome guy!
I know. And then in the fall of 1989, when that's when Tiananmen Square happened. That's when the Berlin Wall started to come down. That's when like East Germany started to reintegrate into regular Germany. Like it was kind of like the fall of communism autumn. And fun fact, Romania was the only country of these of this Soviet bloc of nations that actually had a violent revolution. Like there were rebels that actually got into battle with the Romanian government. And like that's how they overthrew communism in Romania. Like
it did not look bloody in the
no. It looked like Chuck Norris did it with his movies.
Yeah. It looked like they all went out on the balcony and waved a flag.
No, literally thousands of people died to liberate Romania.
Oh, man.
So
old acquaintance.
Right. So
I really like this movie, but I kind of like your version better.
Well, mine's the real version. So Ceausescu was coming back from Iran on December 21st, and when he landed in Bucharest, gave a speech on the balcony to the populace, and it was broadcast to the entire nation on their one TV station. And he flubbed it. Like, he flubbed his lines. He botched it. There was already, like, the seeds of revolution forming in one of the northern cities outside of the capital. And they kind of got into it in this movie. It was, people were suppressing people from going to church. So there was a religious rights revolution movement happening in one of the northern cities. And Ceausescu just kind of ignored it. And when he got back from Iran on December 21st, gave this like speech about how everything's great. We're paying off all of our debts. Our productivity has never been higher. And like, then he flubbed a few lines and then they turned off the feed and everybody got super pissed off and a violent revolution ensued, which lasted a few days, like maybe a week. But when Ceausescu saw that shit was hitting the fan, he got into his helicopter and tried to evacuate the country. And that was on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, they found his helicopter, arrested him, brought him back to the Capitol, had a like immediate trial, and then the next day, Christmas Day, executed him by firing squad.
Wow.
1989.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Nicolae Ceausescu was executed by firing squad Christmas Day 1989.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that was all.
Christmas,
Wait a minute.
Nikolai.
That was all there in the subtext of this film. Wasn't it? I mean, the people, when he gave that speech, the people were like, Irina Nister doesn't flub her line.
Right.
I'm gonna fuck that guy up.
A merry little Christmas.
So ultimately, my point with all that was this movie is great to watch, and it really warms your heart. Like all these people talking about how wonderful the power of film is, and their incredible memories from what these movies did for them back in the 80s is awesome to see, and it's a good story to listen to. But it's not the whole story.
Right.
And the whole story is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a movie just about Zamfir and Irina Nister and that operation.
Yeah.
Or a movie about the revolution.
The Romanian Revolution. Yeah. It's an interesting story. It really is. So that's my take. I just wanted to give a little context for what all went down. But I did like the movie. It got slow for a second, but then it then it got back up and the ending was really good.
Yep.
And it's a total recommend for me.
Do you know you can't wash their dishes while you're watching this movie? It's really hard.
Yeah, you have to actually be watching because it's all in subtitles.
It's all in subtitles.
I could have really used like a high-pitched, soft-spoken American woman to kind of speak all the lines so I could wash my dishes while I watched this documentary.
It was really cool listening to the Romanian language, though, because it sounds a lot like other romantic languages that we're kind of familiar with. Like there were words from it that sounded French. There were words from it that sounded Italian. There were words from it that sounded Spanish.
A little bit.
Like it's obvious. Yeah, it's obviously a romantic language,
but it also sounds very Russian.
Yeah,
it's
got an edge.
Yeah, it's a very interesting language. So that was a pleasant part of this movie as well. Yeah, this is a good movie for sure.
Yep. So I think we're all
recommend.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement here that this movie is definitely a solid watch.
With 3 addendums. Chuck Norris isn't in it that much.
Nope.
And it has subtitles.
Yep.
And the history is not all.
The history's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
It focuses on the part that it wants to focus on.
Yes.
But not the real thing.
Right.
Made it look as peaceful as the Egyptian Revolution.
Yeah, they
honestly.
did kind of lowball the violence there, which is okay. I mean, this movie had it. This movie, like the movie that they talk about, had its own narrative, and it did a really good job telling that.
So
narrative.
ultimately, I feel like this movie was probably for Romanian people. Like, this was a Romanian movie that was made to be watched by Romanian people about a Romanian story. And the story of how the revolution actually went down is probably pretty ubiquitous to them. They don't need to be told that again.
Yeah.
So it's just as somebody from the outside that doesn't know the whole story, to think that this might be the whole story isn't the case, but they probably didn't need to tell themselves over again what the full details of the whole story were.
And now you know the rest of the story.
And it's also not a Brovember film. Really.
Nope. Not at all.
Kind of a downer, but
it's an elevation of Brovember films. Just not a Brovember film itself.
It's bros getting educated.
Bros don't get educated, bro.
It's Brovember movies bringing down communism, we're told.
We're told.
If you want that, watch a real Chuck Norris movie.
All right. So, well, ladies, that's ladies. Oh, well, ladies.
Yeah,
Romanian ladies.
Yep. That's our take on Chuck Norris versus communism. So we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, it'll be time for the game.
Hooray.
Yay.
Game time.
Tally-ho, John Hates Movies listeners, it's Eric Largent with a quick reminder of how you can find us. The best way to stay appraised of all of our activity is to follow us on Facebook at John Hates Movies. There we'll post all of our new episodes, as well as whatever we're feeling interested in at the moment. Please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast service, like iTunes, Stitcher, or Podcast and Radio Addict. If you subscribe to us on iTunes, please leave us a comment. We read every single one, and they're much appreciated. You can also follow us on Twitter at John Hates Movies, or follow me on Twitter at Eric Largent. Now, stay tuned for the game and find out what movie we get to watch next week. And if you're feeling adventurous, watch along with us and leave us a comment on Facebook telling us what you thought of the movie. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the game.
And we're back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for my favorite part and yours. It is time for the game.
Yay!
Yes. And is now, as is John Hates Movies tradition, the person who picked the movie gets to run the game. So that would be James. James,
To be
what
fair,
have you got for us?
I picked Major League. I was forced to do this by my totalitarian podcast brothers.
If anyone wants to hear the real first choice for the selection, listen to the after credits part of last week's John Hates Movies.
You were so excited.
Oh my god! Like, when I listened to that again, I was like, I have to put that in the podcast somewhere, because that's the happiest I've ever been in the history of this podcast. It really was. Like, my heart filled up so full that I couldn't contain it.
Said fuck it and went done it.
And then John was like, actually, it's not on Netflix.
You know that Chris might have a dub version of that on VCR somewhere that he could lend us.
He definitely does.
Yeah. All right. So, as you might guess, when movies go to other countries, like Romania, they don't, the titles, which in American or English, as I like to call it,
yes,
have puns that don't necessarily translate. And so they sometimes get renamed.
Yes.
So these are Romanian names of popular movies, the Romanian translation. So I will give them to you, and you will have to tell me what the movie is. This would be, your name is your buzzer.
Okay. Not round robin.
No, not round robin. There's just not enough. So
all right.
Okay.
I'm giving James a notepad right now so he can keep score.
Yeah, and I got a bunch of Cheeto grease on my fingers. So
Well, why don't you keep score with that?
all right.
How appropriate.
Ooh. Actually, that's fucking wrong. J-E-T. T.
Oh.
I spelled Jack.
Yes, you did.
All right. So, first movie. The Stressed Godfather.
Eric. Godfather.
Nope.
Okay.
This is The Stressed Godfather.
Oh, I know it now. Oh my gosh.
Any of you guys? Yeah. Yep. Beep, beep.
Eric.
I think Eric can go.
Anger management.
Oh, so close, but nope.
Oh.
Analyze this.
Oh.
Yep. Okay, now this one has a name in the title that'll give it away, so I'll just say
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black. No. The Coolest on the Sea.
Again.
This is a really, like, all you guys like this movie a lot. Maybe I should go,
John.
The Coolest on the Sea.
Eric. Or
Well,
did
actually, John went first.
Yeah.
Yeah, John, you go ahead.
Oh, when you went, I lost mine. So, Eric, go ahead.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
I was thinking Jack Sparrow, coolest on the sea.
But no, it is one syllable followed by two.
Jack Sparrow,
Yep.
coolest on the sea. I fitted the scheme.
Yep. But no, that's not actually the one.
Okay.
And do we all really like Pirates of the Caribbean?
I don't know.
Todd.
Todd?
Master and Commander?
No. All right, I think nobody's going to get this one. A Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh, shit.
Steve Zissou, the coolest on the sea.
Of course he is. He's got theme music.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you got to keep going. All right, so
Next.
Okay,
so far we're all 0 for 0.
I'm 0 for. I've been on the show 4 episodes, and
So
I'm
this one
0
I'll
for
give
all the
you-
games I've played.
I will give you a hint on this one by naming the actors in it. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, The Obsession.
Eric.
Heat.
Heat.
Yep.
Damn
it! I got one. Because The Obsession could be like fucking anything. So.
Yeah.
Got a beautiful ass. You've got your head right up it. That was my very bad.
Great
ass.
Hooah!
All right. This one's called How to Kick a 30-Year-Old Bachelor Out of the House.
Eric.
Todd.
Eric?
A failure to launch.
Damn. He got before you, Todd.
Todd, did you have that one? Wow, failure to launch.
Yeah. All right, this is a remake of a Japanese movie that was popular in America, but in Romania they called it The Mole.
Eric.
None of you guys? Because I'm sure he's going to get this. All right,
No,
Eric?
I just can't think
The
of the
Ring.
title.
No.
Oh, okay.
John.
Godzilla? No.
I've
It
seen
won a
this
fucking
movie.
Oscar.
I've seen this movie. God damn it!
It won an Oscar. It's a recent one. All right, so Todd's gonna, in order to fucking allow
me out
Todd
of my
to
misery.
kick himself, The Departed.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly
Infernal
what that
Affairs
movie is
is,
fucking called.
Japanese movie. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally knew that.
Because I couldn't fucking say, like, Jack Nicholson.
Mhm.
You know, those three, or else it would have been, like, really fucking obvious.
Right.
All right, one of the biggest prison movies. The Prison for Angels. Eric?
Yeah. Is it The Green Mile?
No.
Okay.
John.
Then it was
John.
the other one.
Shawshank.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that one
Yes.
first, but then I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good guess,
You had a
though.
50-50 shot on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prison Break, the TV movie.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been Stir Crazy.
This one stars...
Cool Hand Luke.
yeah. This one has Tom Hanks in it. How shall we get rid of Big Mama?
Todd,
I know
Todd.
this one too. I'm just
throw
not
Mama
buzzing
from
at
the
this
train.
point.
No. It's got Tom
That's not
Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks wasn't in that one.
Oh,
Eric.
Eric.
Lady Killers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Eric's fucking killing it over here.
Yes, he is.
well, he's cheating. He studied linguistics.
Oh, fuck. All right.
I'll take it.
Sorry, it's just the way that this sometimes it fucks
I
up.
haven't picked a movie. I don't know if have I picked a movie since we've been back.
I don't know.
I think you might have
I don't
picked
think you
one,
have.
but no, I don't know. I think you picked one in October. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Okay.
I've kind of sort of picked
Oh,
a
yeah, I
few
picked
movies
Children
by
of the Corn.
suggestion, but
Yep.
I've
That's
never
right.
scored a point in a fucking game.
It's not easy, man.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
All
In
right,
fact,
so there's-
it always makes me happy to have guests on because it's the one time I don't look like a jackass.
So there's 2 of these movies,
thanks for that,
and
old
I'll
pal.
accept
Yeah.
either the original or the sequel. These 2 movies do not have the same title, so it's not like Rush Hour 2. So it's
Right.
2 movies. Either of them I'll accept. Nightmare In-Laws.
I know it, but I'm not going to listen.
Todd,
Todd.
Meet the Parents?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Todd, you get a point.
My
first point
This thing is broken.
Okay. I kind of feel like I won, even
Get
though
off
I'm
my
behind.
show!
Okay.
Can you milk a cat? I have nipples. Maybe you can milk me.
A movie from the UK. From Life, everyone escapes on his own. It was big in the 90s.
Eric.
Yeah.
Train spotting?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
That was way out of left
Whoa,
field.
I fucking half court with that one, and I switched it.
How did you do that?
That's what that movie's about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they say it like at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Oh.
I never really cared for that movie that much, but yeah.
Amazing.
All I remember is like the shitting the bed scene and
The
Right.
baby.
Yeah.
heroin and
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like seeing any more shit on Sally.
All right. Bill Murray, A Wacky Christmas Tale.
John.
Yeah, Scrooge.
Scrooge.
Rang in a Scrooge.
John.
We'll accept
English movie with Brad Pitt, Where You Hit and Where It Cracks.
What?
Another Eric sex joke.
Whoa.
You hit and
An
wax?
English
John?
movie with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, John?
Moneyball?
Nope. It says here that the meaning is actually has a double entendre in Romanian. And it has a double entendre in English, too. Mainly, it's a sex joke.
Oh, I can think of the one, but not the other one. Todd!
Todd.
Snatch!
Yes.
There you go.
Oh.
There you go. Yep. All right.
That was
Yeah,
like
like
giving
bags.
birth.
Yep. So I think that's pretty much all the ones that, like, those were all the ones on the one page. I'm looking at another page right now, but I think we're good. With,
All right.
Okay.
So I think all tallied up. John, you get 2. Todd, you get 2. But Eric gets 4.
Yay!
I put points on the board, motherfuckers!
Well, Eric, you are the winner of the game, so you get to pick what we're watching.
Okay.
And the big question is, what are we watching?
Yeah. Well, either way, so I have 2 movies in mind,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to be Brobember as shit. Either way.
Do you need like a coin or something to flip?
I've got a coin in my hand, and John, you're the one that's gonna choose.
All right.
All right. So if you're right, it's going to be the one that you're gonna like more than the other.
Yep.
Okay.
So left hand or right hand?
It's the left hand.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
My
It
left
is
hand
not
was
the
empty.
left.
Which means we're watching Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am the law.
I am the law.
Eric says Judge Dredd, and he is the law.
The other option, John, was Top Gun. It was either Top Gun or Judge Dredd. If you would have said right, we would have been watching Top Gun.
Goose, I'm on your tail.
Right?
Goose, I'm on your tail. Top Gun, oh, Jack,
I don't know.
Top
Okay.
Gun.
I'm gonna put it up to the boys. Do we want to watch Top Gun or Judge Dredd?
Oh, I think we want to
I want to watch Judge Dredd.
Okay,
Yeah, let's
do
do
it.
Judge Dredd. John, have you ever seen Judge Dredd? Have you watched
Actually,
it?
I have not.
Oh, yeah, I watched it this last weekend. You're going to hate it.
I've never watched Judge Dredd ever.
The new one is awesome. But,
The new one's great. Yes.
The old
Yes.
one apparently is sponsored by Taco Bell.
No, you're thinking of Demolition Man,
Oh,
which is good in a different way.
All right,
It's that
all
Sweet
right.
Sting soundtrack, baby. You don't mess around with the Demolition Man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We're watching Top Gun next week.
No! You can't break the law.
We're watching Judge Dredd. My name is Judge.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy,
Good night, everybody.
this is gonna be our third Stallone movie. You
I
guys.
know, it's the lone member.
A great big thank you to our staff graphic artist, Tabby Walters, the Weekly Cast, and our listeners. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, through YouTube, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. Every third episode is Listener Appreciation, where we choose from your suggestions. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies YouTube channel, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
Does a copy of Good Burger actually exist, or is
Yeah.
that
Yes,
just a
it
myth?
does.
Yes, it
It
does.
actually does. I actually kind of want to hear it because
Oh.
it's
Awful.
yeah. Well, like I'm laying in my bed when we're recording it. Like
Yeah.
I'm so hungover, I'm not out of my bed.
Yep.
Oh, no.
I was recording on a piece of shit mic by my computer and like
Yeah.
my big ass room.
Chris didn't know what was going on. He didn't
Yeah.
understand podcasts at all.
Yeah, that one was definitely too hot for TV.
Yeah.